I'm going to call the meeting to order. And yes, I brought my own gavel today just for fun. So we're going to move to item number 2 on the agenda, approval of the September 15th, 2025 Longmont Urban Renewal Authority minutes after I take roll call. So we'll come back to that. I will start off. Chair Popkin.
Commissioner McCoy.
That is your last name.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Commissioner Berthel.
Commissioner Beck.
Commissioner Hidalgo Ferry.
Commissioner Yarbrough.
Commissioner Lochoni.
Laura Moody.
Harold Dominguez.
Commissioner Parker.
Eugene May, City Attorney.
Commissioner Chris.
Commissioner McGilvray.
Teresa Malloy, Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you. And then
Jen Newton, Assistant City Manager for External Services. Molly O'Donnell, Housing Director.
I think that's everyone. Now we'll move on to item number 2 on the agenda, approval of the September 15th, 2025 Longmont Urban Renewal Authority minutes. Are there any corrections or questions about the minutes? Seeing none, do I have any motions?
So moved.
A motion to approve the minutes from Commissioner McCoy.
Second.
And a second from Commissioner Berthel.
Discussion on the second or the motion. I hate to be that person.
Yeah.
My name's spelled wrong
Thank you.
in the beginning of the minutes, but then not maybe it's spelled incorrectly in one section,
yes.
but not in the other. So thank you.
Under attendees there. Great. We'll get a spelling correction in there. Thank you. Just the one place, Commissioner Lochman?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
With corrections.
Yeah, so moved with, we have the amended motion with corrections and a second still.
Correct.
Good. Any other objections or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Somebody did.
I brought it because it also does this. Alrighty. Moving on to item number 3, approval of the Longmont Urban Renewal Authority budget. I believe we have a brief presentation from.
Yes, we do. Good
Somebody, thank
evening,
you.
everyone. I have a PowerPoint to take us through the first part of the meeting, and just to go over a quick agenda of what we have tonight. The first is we have a review and a vote on the LURA budget. The second will be a review of a tax increment financing agreement with Heinz Longmont 800 LLC for the redevelopment of a former Walmart site. And then I just have some short updates on some major modifications that we have in process, as well as some that are being planned for the future. And then Molly O'Donnell, our Director of Housing and Community Investment, will do a brief presentation on affordable housing in Longmont. So we've got a jam-packed agenda. We will get started. The first is the LURA budget. I have paper copies for everyone. They should be being passed around. This is just a quick summary, but this has some details in it. Did you want to, or do you want me to just present? Okay, all right. So you'll see that the budget consists of the only TIF plot that we have in the Twin Peaks Mall Urban Renewal Plan area. And what that is a TIF agreement that does everybody have copies? So the redevelopment of Twin Peaks Mall was financed through the issuance of COPs, and the TIF is then used to manage the debt service on those COPs. So what you'll see is this total source of funds of the $2.4 million, and then that was then sent out. And you'll see at the bottom, the budget in detail is the 2.4 came in, and then there was that refund of $370,000 to the Metro District, and then St. Vrain Valley School Districts, and then it was that $1.83 million that was sent to pay the debt service on the COPs. So that is the budget and what we have right now. Teresa, the city CFO, is here to answer any detailed questions, but if there are, we can discuss and then take a vote on the budget.
Thank you very much. Questions? Yes, Commissioner
I
Rogers?
do have a question. I apologize, just so I'm clear on this. Village at the Peaks COP Special Revenue Fund was started when? Because this is just a 24, 25, 26.
Yeah.
Sorry, are you asking when this started?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know off the top of my head. We've been paying on the certificate of participation for a number of years now, so this is not something new.
It was 15 or 16?
Right.
It's 2015. I think I saw it in the packet.
It's one of those years.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And Teresa, when you bring that back, can you tell us when they will be paid off?
Oh, you bet, yeah. I can actually look it up and let you know.
Thank you.
About 35. I think it's a 20-year debt issuance, and if we started here in 15, it was, it'd be what, 2035.
We'll be halfway through. Great.
Any
Other questions?
Okay, so we can
I believe we, oh,
vote to approve the budget.
I'll make the motion to approve.
we have a motion to approve the budget from Commissioner McGilvray.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Chris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, so approved. Thank you. We will now move on to item number 4 on our agenda, approval of a tax increment financing agreement with Heinz Longmont 800 LLC for redevelopment of old Walmart site. Back to you all.
Great. So we did bring a lot of this last month, and we didn't have the agreement ready, but I wanted to bring a lot of the details to you. So some of this will seem familiar to you, and I'm hoping that I'll just do a quick overview of what we've talked about already. So just as a reminder, this is a redevelopment project with 265 residential units wrapped around a garage. There is a plan for a second 230 unit building, and really the community benefit here is the elimination of blighted conditions at the vacant Walmart site. So a little bit about the reimbursement agreement. It is a cap of up to $600,000 in reimbursement per year with a limit of $15 million in total reimbursement. Eligible improvements are outlined in the agreement, include site clearing, landscaping and irrigation, facade lighting, site lighting, pavement ramps and curbs, utilities, undergrounding of those utilities, design and engineering cost, and the acquisition of land. So again, this is just to orient you, this is where we are on the Twin Peaks Mall urban renewal plan area, and this is the actual site. So those are some details about the agreement, and then just really wanting to remind everyone what this redevelopment project means to the city, the county, and other taxing entities, and that we're really seeing with a redevelopment project like this, we really do see benefit to the city in that one-time use tax estimate of $1.7 million in development fees, in that we're going to see these two chunks, $3.6 million paid with the issuance of the building permit, and then $2.5 deferred. But you do see this impact to the city's budget. The sales tax revenue, this is an estimate generated by the people who will be living in these units, and this really looks at what they will be spending within the city of Longmont on taxable items, and then that 130,000 per year in sales tax revenue, and then you see that earmarked piece for the public safety amount as well. And then you also see that property tax amount that the city will gain as well. Boulder County, again, also will see these revenue benefits with this redevelopment project. Estimate of $500,000 in use tax. Again, really looking at the sales tax generated by the individuals living in these units, and then looking at this property tax revenue over that 25-year period. And St. Green Valley Schools, we talked about this last meeting as well. So really looking at that property tax revenue, the school district override, the state backfills, and then that per student state funding, as well as the development cash and repayment. So you really are seeing an impact to all the taxing entities, the city, the county, with a significant redevelopment project like this one. So that was a really quick summary. So we can open it up to questions and discuss the agreement.
Thank you. Anyone want to kick us off? I will then. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, in looking at the public safety, so that money that goes towards public safety, is it for a specific, or is it, to pay for staff, or is it like cars, or what? That money, that 1.856, or what is it? 1.4. Yeah.
Which one are you talking?
Yes.
1.4. The earmark out of the sales
The
tax.
earmark.
Yeah, so this actually doesn't just, the sales tax actually is not just the public safety fund, so it's the open space fund, it's a public safety fund, it's also the open space, public safety, transportation, and then also the public improvement fund, because those are the restricted funds and we can't waive that. So that goes into the operating budgets for the public safety fund for everything you just mentioned. So when we talk about, the shortfall that we had within the public safety fund, this is shifting it so we're not dealing with, and that's the ongoing piece of the revenue.
Okay.
In terms of one-time revenue, when we look at the use tax paid at $1.7 million on the city side, that $1.7 million is for the general fund, public safety fund, transportation fund,
Okay.
open space. So that's broken down by those categories as well. Correct, Teresa? Correct.
Sorry.
Use tax is broken out, yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So then just to build on that, the the 7.8 million between the use tax and the estimated development fees, where does that end up going ultimately? Or is the use tax part of what you're just describing?
What was your question?
The 7.8 million, if you combine the use tax and the estimated development fees, that the one-time stuff at the top there, am I doing the math right on that? Yeah, 7.8?
Yeah, the 6.1 and the 1.7.
So the development fees that they pay goes into things like water, electric, and the other funding sources in terms of what fees are required for each one of the enterprise funds. And then the use tax is how'd you do your math, Laura? Is the 1.7 included in the 6.1?
No.
So the total value coming in then is the 7.8 million.
Okay. Great. Laura, one clarifying question. I see in the packet we have, it says 256 multifamily units. Was it 265 on the slide?
Oh gosh.
Or did I just miss that? Was it back one?
Probably drives me crazy.
Yeah, is it 265 or 256?
Oh my God. I can't believe I don't know this. Whatever's in the agreement.
Whatever's in the
No, I'm questioning myself. I'd have to look at the agreement.
256, no, that's the packet, not the agreement.
When someone finds that, can you note the page and paragraph, please?
Looking. Is it officially in the agreement somewhere?
That's what I'm looking for. Should be.
If someone has another question, feel free to jump in while we're trying to verify this.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Go for it.
Just from it might be semantics, but I'm seeing TIF agreement, and then the document here is a development agreement. Are those one and the same?
Yes, they are.
Okay,
Yes.
and so all the exhibits are then part of the developer agreement?
Correct.
And-
I apologize for that.
No, it's okay, I just wanted to make sure I was thinking about the same thing. The question I have is actually about what is being built per the developer agreement, how many units, and I was curious if the LURA board wants to talk about home ownership versus rental units. Like, it's not in here. And so it's a curiosity. I know there's a different group that has a meeting in less than an hour that's gonna be making other decisions. But for the LURA board, would it not be helpful if the LURA board was interested in home ownership to put that? And the legal question is, could we make an amendment to the developer agreement to then support that bigger goal? Right now, the way I interpreted the documents and the exhibits, recitals, et cetera, is that the developer would then be subject to land use requirements, but technically the land use requirements could change with a new mayor or a new council, like next week. So it was just a curiosity for the lower board. Back to the question I had last month and I think the month before.
So I think if you look at the question of home ownership, the question is then, will they agree to do it? And I think it's been very clear that they won't because of construction defects and other issues. And that's not inconsistent with conversations that we've had with a lot of developers. Honestly, I wouldn't even advise the housing authority to build condos with construction defects the way it exists today because of the liability. So I think the issue is it's a completely different deal. And that hasn't been negotiated. We did talk to them about it, but they're not willing to do that. And so in exchange for that, they agreed to increase the amount of funding beyond what they are required to out of the inclusionary housing ordinance to benefit affordable housing.
So then, and I'm looking at, let's see what page am I on? Page 4, financing construction project, paragraph 2.2, financing eligible improvements. Developers shall be responsible for initially financing cost expenses in connection with acquisition, construction, installation, and then the improvements that somebody else talked about. So basically the agreement is you're going to build a project and we're going to reimburse up to X amount, and we saw that, Laura did a great job of that. Okay.
And only for the public improvements. So you cannot fund things that are not considered a public improvement. So you can't use any of the funding to fund an apartment. It has to be
Or a private pool.
Or a private. It has to be a public improvement. And so there's also another cap that exists on it in that we said we will do it up to $6 million, or up to $6 million over time. That's contingent upon generating enough dollars on the
600,000 per year.
per year, generating enough of the dollars that qualify as public improvements. So if they only generate $4 million in public improvements, that's going to cap it as well.
And if there's only a certain amount of TIF that's generated, we can't go over what is generated.
Right.
Sure, yeah, and I'm just, again, if there were other board members that were interested in the conversation, then I think it's worth talking about if construction costs could be included as part of, in that example about construction defects. Construction costs could be a portion of that percentage, and then it could be reimbursed in the TIF in the developer agreement, but we would have to do that right now.
Yeah, just to clarify, are you asking if non-public construction costs could be included in the developer agreement?
Here it just says in connection with construction.
Are you looking at Exhibit B, the eligible improvements? If you go to Exhibit B, they've outlined exactly what they will be spending the money on, and then each amount, like site clearing was $575,000. You know, they've really outlined estimated cost, excuse me, on what they will be spending. That's considered a public improvement.
I saw the exhibit.
Okay.
I was referencing for sales. Okay.
I agree with you. I think everybody would, many people would love to have those private units. I think that's, in the end, your big goal. I just don't know how we're going to get from point A to point B with these current insurance companies and the developer. If I could figure out a way, I think we'd all, any one of us figure out a way, I would imagine that people would be all over that. I think that's an excellent point.
Just to build on that, if we were to extrapolate to, like, say, a future negotiation, so put this project aside specifically, but to the same point of Commissioner Lutchman there, if we were to negotiate with, like, say, First and Main, for instance, and fund more of the public improvements than necessary on that to offset costs elsewhere, is that like a way to kind of get at that same goal?
Maybe. I think, so you're looking at upfront capital versus the ongoing expense and the insurance and the liability. So you could potentially, in a pro forma, do that. I think the question would be whether or not you can even get insurance to do it. And because they're also, not all things are considered equal, because, for example, there are places where people are still building for sale condos, but it is because the value of the condo itself, they can get enough money out of it to where it actually manages the financial situation. So I think the answer is yes, maybe, but the pro forma is going to really dictate what that's going to look like. That's why they can still build, honestly, that's why they can still build condos in Boulder, because the value and the cost of the condo that they're selling them for in Boulder kind of offsets the financial risk if you get into the construction defect litigation.
Is there any other extra review by the city that is in part of that, or not?
That's part of what I think they attempted to do in the last legislative session, but it's not satisfying the insurance piece of it. I mean, that's really the thing behind this, is a lot of people look at it in terms of the development side. It's probably less there, and it's more on the insurance industry, and it's more on the lending industry, where that starts showing itself. And the fact that architects and construction companies are being very specific on certain projects, even on multifamily for rent, making people sign agreements that says it will not be turned into condos. So you're seeing all the other industries positioning themselves to get away from the liability.
then to Commissioner Lichman's point, though, maybe for future projects
Yeah.
beyond this one, we can use this as a good jumping off point from the discussion to see where in the negotiation
Yeah.
process maybe offering greater TIF there or a different roundabout way to
Right.
get kind of around some of the costs there could help bring some of that risk down.
Mhm.
Thank you, Commissioner Lichman. I appreciate it. Other questions? Did we get a clarity on 256 versus 265? I did not see it in
No, I
any of
didn't
the.
see it.
265.
It is 265.
So the front page is wrong.
The council comments or the
Council.
Laura comments is wrong. Yes. Thank you.
Laura, can you share where that is in the resolution or the exhibits? Because I didn't find that number in there. I just see a description of a potential development project.
I will have to dig.
Okay.
to see.
Did anybody
Yeah,
else?
I couldn't find it.
No, it's not.
You don't see it in the agreement.
No. Where would we plug that into the agreement would be your recommendation?
Let me pull up the agreement.
We're
Unless it's
trying-
in one of the exhibits that I can't read.
But I can't read the
Yeah.
exhibits.
I can't remember what's in it.
Other questions?
I was going to say two things. One, for expenditure of TIF dollars, it does not have to be a public improvement. It just needs to meet the statutory requirement of public benefit in an
Oh, that's
urban
what it
rural
is.
area. And then with the 265, we could expand the definition of project in the recital. You could display that.
Could I ask another question, just in regards to
Please.
the description and then the memo? So description and the presentation is, how important is the garage structure? Because it was described in the, like, just about the project. And I asked that because I don't see 256 units in the resolution, and I also don't see a parking garage specifically named, so I just don't know how much that's driving the project. It might be very different than the other project that seems to be built around a garage.
I mean, it is part of the project. I mean, the project is very close to obtaining a building permit, and so they're ready. I mean, the plans have been approved by the city, and the garage is part of the project. Is that your question?
I think so.
Okay,
So
okay.
there's like an attachment somewhere that's not part of what we're looking at.
It's on page 15 of the packet there. So after the text, there was a somewhat hard to read exhibit.
My page 15 is different than your page 15.
You get
Okay.
Exhibit A.
Is it Exhibit A, so it's gonna be 25 on our, online.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I have a point of clarification, just I'm interested, it may be in the document, but if the project is not complete by the December of 2026, what's the outcome?
The TIF reimbursement only happens once the certificate of occupancy is issued.
Okay.
So that's how we get that guarantee of a complete project. You know, because that's really our goal is to have a complete project, and we don't want a project that's stalled. So we will not reimburse until the project is complete.
Just a point of clarification. Page 15,
see
Exhibit
that.
A is a legal description of a property.
Yeah.
It is not by any means a plan or an indication of what's going to be on that legal description. So I just want to clarify that for folks that are thinking that's something different than this.
Exhibit A, to Commissioner Lichman's point, is not like a site concept plan. It's just the legal description of
Okay.
what's in there. Yes.
What is the time frame on this? What's the deadline, the timeline? Like, is this something that has to be decided on tonight?
They are in the, they're in final, they're in the final process of obtaining construction loans, and so they are ready to break ground. And they are having trouble securing the construction loans without a signed agreement. So, for this project to proceed and for them to obtain these construction loans, they do need a signed contract. So,
Thank you.
if that helps.
Question for our city attorney. Is it advisable to have a specific unit number in the agreement, or is there maybe intended flexibility of, like, if it was 263 units, does that change? Like, are they then in violation of the agreement? How common in developer agreements do we have the number of units?
I would say more approximately. I think once you get the site plan,
Sure.
Details, that the actual number might move a little bit. Reluctant to tie them down to a specific.
Okay.
It just wouldn't be more.
I would be reluctant to tie them down to a specific number. Maybe they could squeeze in more. I don't know where they are in the site planning or engineering project.
It certainly couldn't exceed the current zoning.
Right.
Yeah, so your zoning's gonna limit what you can actually build from capacity. I don't think, as I'm thinking about the development agreements that we've done, we have been, as you're moving through it, you are, depending on the nature of the agreement, you are as specific because the designs can change minimally. I mean, you're still, in here what you're approving is a complex of X size that has a wrapped construction with a garage, but then there are field issues that come into play. When we did Village at the Peaks, of which you were talking about earlier, we didn't specifically call out Sam's, Whole Foods, and Regal, but what we said is we want some kind of warehouse store, we want some kind of natural grocer, and we want a movie theater, but we didn't specifically say this is the type of movie theater we wanted, simply because you then end up in a situation where if something changes, you're having to constantly bring it back. So there is a point where we are more flexible in these agreements.
Is it common practice to have a construction loan pending a TIF agreement?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just maybe.
Yeah, because what they're trying to do is build a capital stack, and what the lender's saying is your numbers aren't quite there, and we need this financial agreement to make it, to get final loan approval. But for that, I mean, they typically wouldn't come in to ask for that piece.
Other questions or comments?
Yeah, Laura, last time we got together, we had the agreement that they were tweaking it. Do you have any information about how it was tweaked?
We were finalizing the exhibit of eligible expenses. They were going through their pro forma to really finalize what amounts were listed in the eligible expenses. So it was really just them fine-tuning that.
That doesn't seem very significant.
We were ready to go. They didn't. They were not ready to commit. I think they had not finalized everything. So they were just worried. They wanted to know exact costs so that they could list exact costs for the pavement, the streets, and et cetera on that breakdown.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense.
And to be clear on what Eugene said, I called it a public expense. He said public benefit. To give you something to put it into perspective, so if you think of Village at the Peaks, we could use urban renewal money to fund the costs associated with the fire pit between Fuzzy's and the Mediterranean Cafe now, or we could fund the fire pits in the public area in that central courtyard. We could fund the ring road, we could fund water lines and wastewater lines, but it's that public
But not the
benefit.
grill inside one of the restaurants.
Exactly. And so to your question earlier, there is a limiting factor of what is the public benefit and how you're doing it. So that's for perspective.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? So we're voting on the TIF agreement. We're not voting on like a concept plan or a site plan for the project. Does
No.
that go through other processes after this stage?
That's going through the city processes.
So the city will then review
We're already reviewing it. Yeah.
through the administrative process, and then if there are any deviations from current zoning or other code, then it would go through planning and
Right.
zoning and city council as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of these other points, that if it's like deviating from this broader concept, then
Mhm.
city reviews that.
Yeah. Affordable housing is a good example. This group doesn't control that. The city council controls that. And the inclusionary housing ordinance is the controlling document on that piece, of which you have all of the options within the city ordinance. Now, what we negotiated in this is that there needs to be a higher value in doing this, and so that's when we said we want more being paid into the fee in lieu category than what you're required to under code. So they're actually paying more money into it than they would be under our code.
But that's a city policy, not a LURA policy,
Correct.
correct? Yeah. Thanks.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the TIF agreement with Heinz Longmont 800 LLC.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner McGilvray and a second from Commissioner Peck. Thank you. Other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay.
With a vote of, I believe, 10 to 1.
Yeah.
Thank you. That passes. Thank you.
Right, so, just some updates, and just, talking through the process. I think you had hit on the process a little bit. So, backing up, this is a major modification to the Twin Peaks Mall Urban Renewal Plan area. And so this is just that process that we're going through. And again, this is what we've done so far. So where we are in the process is this, this plan area amendment or modification is now going to City Council. And City Council then has to establish the findings of blight and designate the new plan area. And so this went to a first reading on October 14th to City Council, and state statute says that there has to be that 30-day announcement, so that set the second reading and the public hearing for November 18th. So that's where we are in this process. After that, it will be, if City Council declares the area blighted and approves the plan area, I would then be notifying the property owners of this determination, and then it would come back here to the LURA board to approve the IGAs with these taxing entities. So there is that, the dual roles of City Council and the LURA board and how they work together to get this process complete. So that's where we are in the process. And likewise, the other project and application that we're moving forward is this redevelopment at 2nd and Martin, and it is going together with the plan amendment for the Twin Peaks Mall. It also went to first reading on October 14th, and that public hearing is set for November 18th. So it will follow the same process, and should we get to this last step, these IGAs would then come back to the LURA board at a future meeting, and you would all be approving those IGAs and then implementing the plan. So this is the project that is happening at 2nd and Martin, a current photo, and this is a 200-unit multifamily project that is under construction, and they're hoping to have occupancy in first quarter of next year. And just a small update on First and Main. This will be a potential modification. There is no TIF clock that is currently operating at this area, so this would be a modification where we would want to start a TIF clock to assist this redevelopment. And so this is the First and Main Transit Center. This is the transit facility that we're partnering with RTD to put a bus facility with 10 bus bays and parking. There are plans to do a wrap residential and commercial development around the bus facility. And so where we are with the status of this project is we are in the process of negotiating a development agreement with the developer. We're very close. And then we've been having initial meetings with the project designer as we start to design what this bus facility and the wrap product would look like. So hopefully we will start the process of that major modification in the new year.
Yeah, Mr. Becker.
I don't understand the wrapped facility. What you said was around, if I understood you correctly, around the bus terminal.
So the parking structure, it's the first floor is the parking bays, the bays for the buses with the garage on top, and then around that is the residential. So you're not going to necessarily see the garage from Main Street. You're going to see that residential wrapped product.
So it's not the terminal that's being wrapped, the bus terminal, or
It
A
is.
little bit partially.
how will people know to get to it? I can't picture that at all.
Well, we have been, like I said, we've been meeting with the designer who is going to be designing the project, and we've been having several meetings with city staff across the board, from engineering, planning, communications, really looking at what the city wants from a final redevelopment project. And really this idea of that identification of a place and identification of what is happening here, really we have conveyed that to them to say that this is really an important place and that sense of place for the city itself.
Again, tell me how that looks.
That's what
So think the RTD facility in Boulder, or like the RTD facilities in Denver in terms of wayfinding. On the west side, it's going to be pretty open because where the buses have to pull in and park. But it's a combination of wayfinding, design, and not just having a massive parking structure without it. So and most of it will be on the east side on Main Street with some commercial and some other components to it. But
Okay.
it's
I trust you, but
Kaufman
I still
Street.
can't picture
So
that.
Kaufman Street, based on the way Kaufman Street's being designed and the bus rapid transit and wayfinding, that's all has to be part of the design. We just started it. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we had our design kickoff meeting, and now we've been having these series of meetings with the designer, with DDA staff to go through design guidelines and really getting as many voices at the table as we can to make sure that we have a design that really fits the spirit of the city.
Thanks. Can't wait to see the design.
Yes.
One of the conversations we had, I think, in our last meeting was about, I understand the value of the wrapped product, but we were talking about construction defects law last time and how a connected wrapped product might decrease options for different types of housing. And so I'm curious, at what point in the conversation and negotiations does the I don't know if you call it a partially wrapped product or a segmented product that wraps around, like if I'm using different types of wrapping paper that kind of eventually connect but are technically separate entities. I think you're getting my point there. Like, at what point does that type of design and negotiation kind of start to factor in, where you could have 8 units that are meeting the kind of like form function but are technically disconnected from the legal insurance risks piece of that?
So part of the challenge is this is going to be 3 different parcels. And that it's not going to be one single platted site, because we have different ownership structures on the parcels. So the parcel for the parking garage is going to be owned by the city, and then you have 2 privately owned, and these are things we're trying to figure out, 2 privately owned parcels that are adjacent to the parking lot. So the front end of this is actually just trying to design a parking structure where, in the event that when they build their product, they can actually connect into the parking structure. Because the other side on this, where it's a little bit more challenging, is the city's under contract with RTD to have a transit station under construction by October of next year and finished no later than 2027.
Like end of calendar year.
End of the calendar year 2027. So as we're working with the designers on this is a slightly different development agreement, because it's really more of a design development agreement to make sure that we're building the parking structure in conjunction with the property owner, so that if they can't go at the same timing, we can't wait. And so it's really for them to connect into it.
Thanks. I want to make sure we have time for the brief affordable housing presentation as well. So, Laura, let's.
I will, wrap it up. I
Sounds
want to get
good.
to you. Sugar Mill, we are going through the process of an RFP for an infrastructure master plan, and we're really looking into a special district to fund the infrastructure master plan, and then this too will go into a blight study update, and the blight study update will be conducted. So I want to get to Molly. I asked her to specifically comment.
Thank you. Can you send those slides to the group after,
Yes.
so that we can refer back to it? Thank you.
Thank you, Molly.
As long as the door opens.
Never seen that. Live long enough to just see it.
Just for everyone else's awareness, this is the last item on our agenda for today.
There's so many more items on the agenda. Just like
On this
So while we're waiting, I can answer the question on the CLPs.
Excellent.
So that debt was originally issued in 2014 with a maturity, so final payment in 2037. We refinanced at a lower interest rate in 2022. Our same maturity, so our final payment is in 2037.
Thank you.
That's right, because we had to do capitalized interest for, I think, the first 2 years, didn't we, or something weird, so it took it out a little bit longer.
What's that, Harold?
Nothing, we'll talk. I'm remembering back to, yeah.
Thank you for the answer.
Okay. Take a moment. I might just talk through it since it's taking a moment to recognize the drives.
What kind of meeting did you have that you need to open audit? Oh.
Okay, you ready for me? All right, so forgive this while it figures some things out, but I think I'll just kind of talk through a couple of items for you. So I've heard from Laura that you're interested in learning about what the city is doing in affordable housing. I thought I would talk a little bit about the city's affordable housing toolbox, because we have a lot of tools. Some projects pull out one of those, some pull out a whole bunch of them. We have funding sources on one side of it, so that includes federal sources such as CDBG, Home, ARPA. We have state sources that often come from DOLA, DOH, the Division of Housing, which is within DOLA, or CHAFA, who issues low-income housing tax credits, the Colorado Housing Finance Authority. One of those major sources that people talk about is Proposition 123 funds. We have been successful in pulling in some of those funds into the city. We also are very lucky that we have local funding sources. The city, since the 90s, has had an affordable housing fund, and I'm going to come back to that in a moment, but really it's our most flexible source of funding, and the city puts that out for competitive award, sometimes funds some internal projects or through developer agreements, and then sometimes puts them out for competitive award to our affordable housing partners. We also have an attainable housing fund, even more special. Well, not more special than the affordable fund, just special that Longmont has both of these. It's good to even have one. That is to focus on middle income housing. Right now that is tied up for our True North homeownership development for a couple of years, but then in the future that could be opening up for competitive funding as well. We also have the affordable and attainable housing tax that Boulder County administers, that we're working through agreements on to see the first round of that funding coming through. And that'll be a major source for the community. And then we also have bond financing tools that we can tap into using the expertise of the city. Some of that can be through the housing authority, some of it's private activity bonds, some of it is things like COPs and that type of thing. We have a number of development incentives that we offer for developers that are building affordable housing or including affordable housing in a market rate development. Fee waiver programs, fee offset programs, so the Affordable Housing Fund could pay a portion of the fee that's not eligible to be waived. You can defer fees, which helps on a pro forma. And then there's also land use incentives, reduced land development requirements, which there are many. We also utilize the urban-based design standards to help some affordable housing projects, specifically homeownership when you're talking single family or small multifamily, so duplexes, etc. That can be really, really helpful to making those projects work. Our inclusionary housing ordinance is also a tool. So that's what is applying to the retreat at Longmont. Basically, all our market rate developers have to provide either 12% of the units that they're building as affordable, whether it's homeownership or rental, or pay a fee in lieu of providing those units, or a number of other options. They can get very creative. Our ordinance is very flexible and letting developers play with options to see what could work best.
Where's the fee in lieu go to?
So that goes to the Affordable Housing Fund. So I'm going to come back to that as well. We've had some very creative solutions. That's how we got Veterans Community Project in the Mountain Brook development. It was a unique partnership with that developer. That's how we got a lot of Habitat's production. Larger scale production is coming from developers donating land to Habitat. Without that, Habitat would be doing smaller 2 to 6 unit projects. Mm-hmm. Because of IH, we have some coming in the 20s, 30s. Okay, so the fee in lieu, when paid, goes into the Affordable Housing Fund. The Affordable Housing Fund is fed by a general fund transfer that City Council approves each year, and that's subject to approval each year. And then a portion of the marijuana revenues also comes into the Affordable Housing Fund. So those 3 major sources of funding help us bring in money and pump that money back out to our affordable housing providers that are very well versed at building affordable housing, which is a special type of development. Most market rate developers, unless they have an arm that is experienced in affordable, they're not ready to touch it. So what City Council's goals have been for some time is to have a healthy balance. We would like some developers to provide the units on site so that we have a scattered units throughout the community. We also would like some to pay the fee in lieu so that we can feed that into the affordable housing fund and spit that out for the truly affordable projects, the ones that are the bigger scale things that a market rate developer wouldn't do. And so that's part of the main toolbox that helps fund affordable housing from market rate development, even if they do not provide it themselves. It kind of goes through this pipeline and spits back out. So for example, in 2024, when we put out our competitive awards, we put out almost $3 million worth of funding, all of which those projects are either under construction or about to be and going to be delivering us on the odds of 100 to 200 units in the next couple of years.
So how do you get the funding for Attainable?
Right now, it's a general fund transfer.
Okay.
Eventually, it's a general fund transfer at this time. We don't have, it's helping, we do have a fee waiver program for Attainable, but that doesn't result in revenue coming back in. That is just unrealized revenue. And so at this point, it's just the general fund.
So I think the piece in it, I mean, we really take a systems approach to how we look at affordable and attainable housing. So we're looking at multiple levers that we can pull, but also multiple options, because one of the things that we realized is we can generate more units utilizing cash in lieu than we could generate if we were just saying build them in developments. Because there's an economy of scale that we can pull through that process. And so when you think about these funding sources and you just think about what they're doing in True North, so we put in all in across all the funds, I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $12 million to create 185 for sale units that are affordable and attainable. So it's maximizing all of these levers, utilizing all of these levers to maximize the number of units that we can build within the community. And it really is 1,000 cuts that we're using to bring these units to bear. 80 units at Ascent with daycare. I think we had another 80 at Chrisman 2. We had 60 at Xenia. We have 200 at True North. And so you can see that we're in excess of probably 400 units that meet affordable and attainable housing. So it really is utilizing all the tools and maximizing the value.
Looks like it's 404 units actually.
Yeah.
Just for the
it's
sake
not
of,
recognizing all my links, so I was trying to manually do it. It did not work.
For the
so.
sake of time, I'm going to suggest that this is a good starting point for this conversation. If both of you could send the slides out that you were going to present to the group, that would be super helpful. And then perhaps this could continue to be kind of added to more of a discussion item for one of the next two LURA meetings, as we have time in the agenda for that. I think it's useful, and I appreciate us starting the conversation today. Any concerns with that approach?
And just if I can say something, in every project that we touch, that may just be city or it may be LURA, for us, affordable and attainable housing is front and center, and we're having those conversations in terms of what works. Every project has its own financial challenges, and so we may move here on this one and here on this one, but it's really the project and the financials that are leading us down certain roads.
I will let you know that the slides do have our progress, some of those projects that benefited from things like the field.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, that was not.
Any other final comments or questions here for now? I'm sure we could have 15 hours of discussion on this topic.
Will we adjourn?
I have a motion to adjourn, a second. Before we adjourn, I just want to note that I really appreciate everyone this year We've had a lot more meetings, from what I understand, with Laura than they have in the last few years, because there's been a lot of things moving at different stages. So thank you to our staff, and thank you to all of you for all the time that you dedicated to this too. With that, any objection to adjourning? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, so adjourned.